It's that time once again here on the weekend with Anthony Opperman. Time for our weekly wildlife conversation, and we've got a big one today. Welcoming back in from the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, good friend Chris Dunnavant. And Chris, this week we get to talk the Super Bowl of fishing, the Bassmaster Classic taking place on the Red River next weekend down in Louisiana. And, you know, you likened it to NASCAR, where right out of the gate, the BASS Trail has its Super Bowl, its biggest event. This is like the Daytona 500 of fishing.
It is. It is the premier event in bass fishing. There are 2 trails. There's multiple venues, but the Classic is the event. It's the one that every angler wants to win, every angler wants to be at. When you're a kid and you're dreaming about being a pro, or you're looking up to the pros, you're thinking about, like a kid on the basketball court pretending he's making the final shot for the NBA championship. You're out there fishing and thinking you're making that last cast and catching a fish to win the Classic. And it is the biggest event of fishing, and it's getting ready to take place here soon, so it's pretty exciting.
How did this event get to be so big?
I really think you've got to attribute that to Ray Scott, the founder of Bass. He was an amazing promoter. He just had a knack for a gift for putting together an event, making a big event, and he really, I think, recognized that he needed to have a one premier event that was lifted up and created a champion of the world, and he would call it the World Champion, and he would bring press people to it right out of the gate. The first Classic. The first Classics, actually, the anglers didn't know the location. They were flown in a plane, and in the plane they were told, here's where it's going to be. And they were all provided boats, Ranger boats. They all had boats at the location, so they just brought their tackle and their clothing, and they were announced on the plane where it was going to be. So it was a hidden location. Well, as things progressed, the need for letting the location be known because of just the financial reasons, it was a real money-making machine, obviously, that became true. But you got to say Ray Scott. He just built it up. And just like anything, the prestige of winning something, when something is just so heralded like that, it builds on itself and builds its own. And I will say, back in 88, 89, and 90, the Bassmasters Classic was held here in Richmond, Virginia on the James River. And I was, as a teenager, I went to all 3 years, all 3 days, each year of weigh-ins. I was the first in line there, like 2 or 3 hours early, front row seat. Eating up with it. And it was just so exciting. It's an electric event. If fishing's your deal, it is the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500, all wrapped up together.
Chris Dunnavant from the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, our weekly wildlife conversation here on the weekend with Anthony Opperman. And Chris, for people who are watching this event on TV, because it is televised now, which is one of the big reasons why this thing is blown up as well, what are some of the things to watch for? What are some of the things to look out for?
Well, and I will back up a little bit. The TV coverage is excellent. ESPN does a great job, but it comes on like 2 weeks after the event. I think the weekend of March 3rd and 4th. But actually what's great is the internet. Go to bassmaster.com. They have a live blog. You can keep up all day. They have all the folks in the boat, the marshals in the boat, they're cell phoning in or texting in, what the angler is catching, approximate weight, and there's writers and media people out in the water, and they're reporting in to this one hub, and this guy's blogging about it. And so you can really keep up with the live action. You can also watch the weigh-ins and the leaderboard live online. You can view all that. So that's really, live events, you can really, with the internet, you can really keep up with that. But, what I like about the show is a lot of times new techniques are coming out this time of year. There's some companies that come out with baits exclusively to introduce at this Classic, and they design them for the body of water so that they're going to be something that will be used at that body of water. So, but I enjoy seeing they do have some good coverage, in the boat coverage, and you can really see what the pros are doing, learn from them, get their techniques of what they're doing to fish in the biggest event of the year.
Chris Dunnavant from the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries joined us here on the weekend with Anthony Opperman. And Chris, continue to talking about this Bassmaster Classic coming up next weekend. Who's the favorite? I mean, who are the guys that traditionally sit atop the leaderboard? I mean, and obviously there's some local guys at stake, like a John Cruz that will be participating in this event. And I know that when you're watching the leaderboard, you do pay attention to his bag and how he's doing. But who are the guys that are really the favorites year in, year out for these kind of events?
Well, you have to always say Kevin Van Dam, KVD. He is, I think he would say he gears up for every tournament the same. He has a competitive edge like nobody that the fishing world's ever seen. But the Classic, he just rises to that occasion. I think since the Elite Series inception, when ESPN purchased Bass and they changed it to the Elite Series, he's been in contention in every Classic, or won it. And actually, this event was held here at the Red River in 2009, and he missed it on day one. But if he hadn't had a bad day one, his day two and day three weights, he would have been a contender if he had gotten on those fish. And he admitted it. He made a mistake. And these big tournaments, you can't win it on day one, but you can lose it on day one. And he will admit, I blew it on day one. It's one of those deals where it's an all or nothing. So you can make a decision and go one way, and if it's the wrong decision, you just lost the tournament. Because the Classic is a winner-take-all tournament. I mean, yes, there are payouts all the way through, but nobody remembers second through fifth or whatever like other tournaments. It's the winner, and that's it. So the stakes are on. But, yeah, definitely we'll watch John Cruz. And actually, too, there's another Virginian, Kelly Pratt. He's in the tournament, so we'll be watching him, rooting for him. And he's a river rat, so he'll be at home down there. And but there's some I think Alton Jones is probably somebody to look at. And, there's going to be some guys like that I'll be watching.
I want to get back to Kelly Pratt in just a second. NBC 12 did a nice feature on him and his story, which is really quite incredible. But for a guy like John Cruz, what are his chances in an event like this? I mean, where does he rank right now in terms of the Kevin Van Dams of fishing?
Well, clearly it'd be tough to compare him with somebody like Kevin Van Dam. I mean, Kevin is definitely risen to he competes at a level that really no one on the trail can really match right now. But in this event, I think every single angler has a really good chance at winning it. Maybe 80% of the field has a really good chance of winning. They have the professionalism, the experience, the mechanics to do it. It's about making the right decision, getting on the right group of fish, with the timing of the weather, a place where fish are moving into and it's replenishing. And it's really hard in practice to just know exactly if you have that spot. But John has every bit of capability of winning this tournament. He could find the right location. He's definitely got the mechanics. He's got the tournament savvy to make the right decisions. If he gets on the right group of fish, makes the right decisions throughout the tournament, he definitely can win. And I think that's one of the neat things about the Classic. It is one tournament, so anybody can win if you get on the right fish. Now, some of the guys that are rookies or Federation guys, certainly they could win, but maybe less likely because apparently at this event, you've got it's a Super Bowl of fishing, and you've got the best pros, and they've got their A game on, and it is intimidating, and it's a big media event, and it's, they get catered through for the whole week before the tournament. They have practice time, but they also have all these events that they're kind of walk through and media stuff and shows and all these things. So it's a whirlwind for them. They're treated like gold, and that can be a little bit distracting for someone who's never been there, and sometimes that affects their performance.
Weekly wildlife conversation here on the weekend with Anthony Opperman, Chris Dunnavant from the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, talking the Bassmaster Classic. And Chris, I want to bring up Kelly Pratt because, again, NBC 12 did a nice feature on him. Guy from Williamsburg. Do you know Kelly?
I do. I've known Kelly for many years, tournament fishing, and he is just such a nice guy. Always really enjoyed him, and he was also really a huge competitor on the Chickahominy River. If any river tournament, you would look at the standings, and Kelly is going to be up there. And actually, interestingly enough, when I started my column that I do for our Outdoor Report, our online magazine, I called the fishing spot. I've been kind of thinking about doing something and had our director of our section, kind of Lee Walker, pushing me to do something. And when Kelly won that tournament last year on the James River, it vaulted him into the Classic automatically. I knew that was it. All right, I called Kelly up and said, hey, we need to do an article. And that was the article about Kelly and his win and his upcoming trip to the Classic. That was my first article in the fishing spot. So I'm definitely going to be watching Kelly and rooting for him in this event.
Well, and two, which was something that was brought up in the NBC 12 story, the kind of heartwarming side of this is the tragedy that unfortunately he had to experience several years back, where he was had one of his friends killed in a car accident in which he was driving the car. Another car pulled out in front of him. And do you remember when that took place and when that transpired?
Actually, I do. It was a tournament that it took place in, and I was in that tournament. And what happened was the night before the event, you have a tournament meeting where you are briefed on all the latest things and the rules and everything. You also meet your partner for the next day, and his friend Rick Damon. Rick was staying, and I knew Rick as well. Rick was staying at his house in Williamsburg, and they were leaving the tournament briefing and on the way home, and there was a collision. I think someone ran a red light, and that was really terrible news. The next morning, we're in the line to launch our boats. It's dark, lights are on, and somebody walks by. I don't even remember who told me, but they said, "Did you hear about the accident?" And Rick was killed, and Kelly was injured pretty badly, and it was just devastating news that morning to hear that. And but it's something that could have really impacted a guy, and just kind of said, "You know what? I'm quitting. I'm out of here." Especially because it was associated with a fishing event. But obviously, Kelly stuck with it, and he just really represents the sport well. He's just such a nice guy, and here he is. He's risen to the top. He's going to the Bassmaster Classic, so it's a pretty amazing turnaround, and a guy that couldn't deserve it more.
Certainly, we'll be keeping track of Kelly Pratt of Williamsburg and his success at the Bassmaster Classic next weekend. Same thing with John Cruz. It'll definitely be interesting to see how the event shakes out. I mean, I think in that story, Kelly said that if you win an event like that, I mean, especially for a guy like him, it's life-changing. I mean, it really could be.
Absolutely. If he wins that event, and anybody that wins that event, I would say, with the exception of some of the top pros maybe that have won it before, it still is maybe not life-changing, but it at their stage, it vaults their career to just a different level. But for someone who's never won it, that's the exciting part about it. A new person could win it, and from now on, for the rest of their life, the rest of their career, they are a Bassmasters Classic champion. I mean, certainly the prize money is huge, $500,000, endorsement money on top of that. Some say it could parlay into $1 million plus, but no doubt a life-changing event. It's something that you can't take it away from Kelly now. He's going to be in the Classic, and not many people can make that claim. But to win, that's just a huge mantle to have.
Chris Dunnavant for the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. If you're wondering where he's going to be next weekend, one good thing to maybe guess, or one guess maybe to have, is be on his iPhone, checking that leaderboard consistently. And Chris, maybe we'll have to get together and just watch the tape-delayed coverage of the Bassmaster Classic, because I think watching it with you would give it a whole other perspective.
Oh, yeah. And I still enjoy watching those shows because, some of those guys I know. I mean, there's new guys out there, but it's fun to see people that you used to spend some time with and watch them out there fishing and see them on TV, and it always makes it exciting.
Chris Dunnavant from the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, our weekly wildlife conversation here on The Weekend with Anthony Opperman. Stay tuned. I've got my game plan for the weekend when we come back.
The show is almost over, but the weekend is just getting started. More of The Weekend with Anthony Opperman is next on Sports Radio 910.